Hello and welcome to the Circling Sports podcast. This will be episode 80 of the podcast itself. This is the 22nd installment in the Seattle interview series. I am joined by Kiana Williams today. Just a few accolades I want to go over. McDonald's All-American in 2017, three-time All-Pac-12, WBCA All-American in 21, third-team AP All-American in 21, second team USBWA All-American in 21, Pac-12 champion in 21, obviously NCAA champion in 21, and 18th overall pick by the Storm. How have things been for you? Obviously, like I kind of mentioned before we started here, I'm sure it's been a little might be an understatement, but busy for you, with getting, acclimated with the team and, the whole WNBA season being underway. How have things been for you to start off?
So I guess I'll just start with after we won the national championship. That week was the busiest week of my life. I had interviews. I was trying to hire an agent. I was trying to find an outfit for the draft. Like there were just so many things going on, and I couldn't really even reflect on the fact that we had just won, because I was already starting my new chapter, trying to get ready for the draft. So yeah, that week after we won was hectic. And then a draft happened. Got drafted on Thursday, and I got to Seattle Sunday. I've been here for a little over a month. I think I got here like April 21st or something like that. So it's May 24th. So yeah, I've been here a little over a month. Training camp was so much fun. Sue and Jordan, just watching them and how they play the point guard position and how they run the team is just, I've learned so much from them. I'm still, in practice today. Sue's always pointing out, trying to help the young players. She's just a great veteran leader, and when she talks, you listen. So I'm just thankful to be here, to be in this position. We're 3-1 right now. I have a big game tomorrow. Connecticut's coming in hot, 5-0. I'm excited. I get to see my best friend Dejanay, so that'll be fun. We played together at Stanford.
Yep.
But yeah, it's been fun. Had our first road trip. Went up to Minnesota, won that one, then went to Dallas. Got to see my family. I didn't get to play, but just the fact that I'm there learning and stuff, and I just know that when my number's called, I'll be ready. Everyone's still encouraging me and telling me to stay ready, and that's all I can do. I'm just I feel like I'm in a very good situation, so not much to complain about.
So with that being said, has it really hit you that championship, you guys won that championship, or are you just kind of forced to switch gears and head into the WNBA? Were you ever kind of able to, like you said, kind of sit down and reflect on that?
No, not really. I never really took time, because like you said, I just had to switch gears. I had that my Stanford chapter closed, and I'm on a professional team, and I was just I was locked in a training camp, trying to make a roster spot. So I haven't really had time to reflect. They sent some emails about the rings, so I was like, oh, that's cool. We'll get a ring, but honestly, it hasn't even really hit me yet. Just the fact that I'm not at Stanford anymore, up here in Seattle.
I want to put Stanford on hold for a second. I want to go back to sort of beginnings. When did you really know that you wanted to take basketball to the professional level? I read a story about you and your father were out playing hoops, and he hit you with a pass and smacked you in the face.
Yeah.
When did you really sort of know that you looked at basketball, you said, I want to do this at the best level in the world, with these athletes that are the best women in the world at their sport?
I think when I got my first scholarship offer, that's when I knew. I'm like, okay, I can go to college, and I want to take it a step further. I want to play professionally. I want to play in the WNBA. That's when I started getting serious about it. But obviously, when you first play any sport, you wanna go all the way with it. So I guess I had dreams of playing in the WNBA ever since I was 5. When I first started playing basketball. Then once I got that first scholarship offer, I was like, okay, I know that my college is going to be taken care of. I need to keep working harder to not only get more scholarship offers, but separate myself and show that I belong in the league, because it's a tough league. All 12 teams are tough. And it's 140 or whatever, however many players. of the best women in the world. So, you can't take possessions off, you can't take days off, none of that. So just, looking back on my journey and seeing how far I've come and how far I have to go, that's another thing. Obviously I'm here, I'm happy to be here, but I have, so many ways to get better and more things to learn. And I think that's really just what I'm focusing on my rookie year. Just trying to, soak in as much information as I can, especially from Sue Bird. She is the standard, I feel like, at the point guard position, and to know that she's a phone call away now, like, it's a blessing.
Yeah, I don't want to dip into that part too much, but I remember, we're looking at we were doing draft lookout, for the weekly show, and I was like, I don't know, man. Kiana Williams at Stanford, I know they just came off a title, but so you were in my mocks for a bit. I was like, all right, and I saw the first round go by and the trades, like, shoot, okay, she's probably gonna go somewhere else. I was like, so when I saw that 18th pick, I was like, okay, I like this. And so, it's been really cool to see that play out. And my Lady Huskies haven't had the best luck in basketball, but it was nice to see the Pack perform like they did in the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of to go back to family, what sort of influence did your family's athletic background have on you, playing basketball, or just, your competitive spirit? Your father, Michael, playing linebacker at Texas Southern, brother, Chancey, please correct me if I, say anything wrong.
No, you're fine. It's Chauncey. You're fine.
Chauncey, yep. Playing running back at Abilene Christian, and in the 2004 U.S. Army All-American Bowl. Yeah. I'm assuming that having those athletic influences might have pushed that competitive spirit in you to get better.
Absolutely. From an early age, when I was an infant, I was in the gym at an early age, sitting in the stands, sitting in my mom's lap. My dad has been coaching for 25 plus years. He first started coaching my older brother Chauncey. He coached him in basketball and football, and then he coached my middle brother Mike in just football. So I was either on the sideline or in the stands or on the sideline of the football field, being the water girl. Can you hear me? You broke up. Yeah, so I was either on the sideline of the football field being the water girl, or sitting by my dad while he's coaching, or in the stands since I was a toddler. And just one day I just finally decided, like the story you brought up, I had finally decided to tell my dad I want to play basketball. And that's where it started, with my older brothers, and also where I got my competitive spirits from. I don't think if I had, older siblings, I don't think I would have been as competitive as I am. And that ultimately helped me get into Stanford, because not only am I competitive athletically, I'm competitive academically as well. So shout out to my older brothers.
Yep. And yeah, not to glance over that, having, 3 older brothers, I'm sure that only continues to add to that. So, as you mentioned with academically in Stanford, what was your recruiting process like? I know you mentioned getting that first offer, what was your recruiting process like? And did you ever think that you might attend somewhere else besides Stanford? Because, talking about competitive, being competitive, you're a 5-star talent, 8th best player in the country, according to ESPN. I can only imagine that was an interesting time, thinking about, hey, where do I take things, from here? So with that being said, what was that like? And did you ever think maybe you might go somewhere else?
Yeah, the recruiting process, it was fun, stressful. It was, all those emotions mixed in. But at the end of the day, I was just thankful to know that my college would be paid for. So just looking back on the process, I prayed a lot, talked to my family, talked to coaches, talked to the right people, like my high school coach and my AAU coach, just making sure I was, trying to get advice from the right people. But at the end of the day, I made the decision, and I knew once I got accepted into Stanford, I had to go. It's not every day people get accepted into a place like Stanford. So not only was I going to play for, Hall of Fame coach Tara VanDerveer, but I'd be receiving a pretty decent, pretty decent education. So I just knew once I got accepted, it was a no-brainer for me.
So good segue into Stanford here. What are, if I could have you put a couple out there, what were some of the most important lessons that you learned as you went throughout your 4 years? I'm sure, like you said, that's it's a world-class university,
Mhm.
and playing under Coach VanDerveer. Um, what are some of the most important things you learned, whether it was on the court or maybe off the court?
Mhm.
Because I'm sure, as you go along with those 4 years, you had to learn some things.
Yeah, I think the one thing that sticks out is my confidence, not only on the court but off the court. I just remember, there were times during my freshman year I felt like I didn't belong at Stanford. Just coming from a public school in San Antonio and then going to one of the best private institutions. I was really challenged academically, and there were times I was questioning myself whether I belonged here because obviously, you have all these assignments and you're not doing as well as you want to. But I just knew I had to, make changes within my study habits and my time management. I think once I fixed that, my confidence, knowing that I belong there, it started to grow, and then that ultimately translated to on the court. My first few games at Stanford, I didn't play a lot, and then toward the middle or toward the second half of the season, I earned a starting spot my freshman year, and that's where things really took off. So, yeah, if I just had to look back, I just say my confidence as a person on and off the court really grew.
That's definitely something you can see. I mean, I guess in all sports, if somebody isn't feeling confident in themselves, that their play will probably reflect that. And with that being said, the Pac-12 for at least, well, I'd say in both sports, in both women's and men's basketball, has been a tough place to play for a while. Would you say that playing in the Pac-12 has helped you to get better as a player? If I just look at some of the draft boards for the last 2 or 3 years, looking at obviously Aaron McDonald, like Sabrina Ionescu,
Mhm.
obviously first overall pick, Satu Sabali, Kennedy Burke, who you're now teammates with. Just obviously that's just a few names out of all the other Pac-12 players that have been drafted. Would you say that playing in the Pac-12 conference was something that helped elevate your game?
Absolutely, absolutely. You can say I'm biased, but I feel like the Pac-12, is the best conference. Obviously, other conferences are really good, but I feel like with the Pac-12, it's similar to the league where you can't take a night off. The quote unquote worst team, could sneak up and beat you. So um, a lot of talent, a lot of great coaches, and a lot of great programs in the Pac-12. And I think throughout my 4 years, I really benefited from playing, in the Pac-12 and playing for Tara, just learning, how to game plan, how to, get ready mentally and physically for each game. Some games are more physical. Some games, you have to be more mental and, just be a few steps ahead of your opponent. So you got a little bit of everything in the Pac-12, and obviously that showed with us in Arizona playing the final game of the season. So
I find it very interesting you mentioned not taking a night off, because I was doing my research, and you played the second most minutes in the nation total. How do you manage to do that? 1,066 minutes played in that last season of yours at Stanford. Keep yourself? How do you keep yourself? Not fatiguing, not wearing
Mhm.
down. How did you keep yourself in it for those 1,066 minutes?
Um, I don't know. That's a good question. I didn't realize I played that many minutes. I guess just the fact that in the back of my mind, I knew the Final Four. Well, obviously the entire tournament was in San Antonio, but before I knew that, I just knew in the back of my mind the Final Four was in San Antonio. So I was like, I have to get my team to San Antonio. And it was my senior year. Obviously, the NCAA granted everybody an extra year, but I was treating that as this is my senior year. It's all or nothing. So um, I told Tara, whatever you need me to do, you need me to be more vocal. Whatever you need me to do, I'll do it. And just being a senior leader and a senior veteran, your sense of urgency like kicks in. And uh, you know, I guess just ultimately knowing that the tournament was in my hometown, I was willing to do whatever it took to get my team there.
Yeah, I saw that stat and I was like, wow. Because obviously, playing the tournament games adds more, but still, even before that, second most in the nation, I was like,
Do
geez,
you know
man.
who was first?
No, I do. Maybe I can find out really quick.
Man,
Um,
that's an interesting stat. I had no idea.
but yeah, I saw that. I was like, yeah, geez, obviously, like I said, tournament games help with that. But I mean, so that's something that, I read that you played all 40 minutes, I think, of the last 4 games of the season, not taking a break. Um, uh, but yeah, that was something I was kind of interested about because I mean, some people that obviously might want to take a break, but obviously like you said, you kept that sense of urgency and um, help power your team to the championship game and win that championship game. Not able to find that right off the
Yeah,
bat,
no,
but I might.
I could find it later, but I had no idea that learn something new every day.
With that being said, with that last season being, something we just talked about, what methods did yourself and the team use to push throughout that pandemic season? Because in looking into it, you guys had to play home games in Vegas and San Jose and Oakland, do that sports ban in Palo Alto and playing out of a suitcase.
Mhm.
I did read the story about the ping pong table, and I did like that. I thought that was really cool. But what sort of things did you guys as a team, or maybe even as as Kiana, how did you and the team work throughout that home stretch?
Yeah, we're coming into the season. The three senior captains. We had to come up with like the motto for the year, and our motto was all in. Um, and we knew that if we had a season, it wouldn't be easy. It wouldn't be pretty. But we just wanted to play so bad. We knew we had to make certain sacrifices, not only on the court, but most importantly off the court. Our number one focus was just trying to keep everybody healthy. We didn't want anyone to catch COVID, and we went the whole season, doing just that. We had a race going on between the players and the coaches, and the players won. None of the players had tested positive for COVID all year, and that's just a testament to the sacrifices that we had to make. So yeah, we just had that motto of being all in practice, being all in. When you're not in practice, being mindful of who you're hanging around and what you're doing, and knowing that we're living in a pandemic. So the decisions you make don't just affect you; they affect the people that you interact with daily, which is the team. Um, and then once we heard that, the Santa Clara County wasn't allowing sports, we knew, okay, well, we want to play. So if we have to get up and go, we have to go. So living out of a suitcase for those 10 weeks was not easy. There were days I know I didn't want to practice. I know my teammates didn't want to practice, but at the end of the day, we just pulled each other along the way. I mean, I think ultimately, while we were in it, we didn't like it, but once we were out of it and we got to play back in Maples, we were just thankful, for the struggle. And I think just mentally, we just grew as a team. And obviously, the entire tournament was in San Antonio, so we were back to living out of a hotel, but it was only for about 2.5, 3 weeks. So we were like, we did it for 10 weeks. We can do it for 3 more weeks, and that's exactly what happened.
So I will pause here because I did find the minutes. Joanne Allen Taylor out of Texas. She's a junior, 5'8" guard. She played 1,097 minutes.
Mm.
Um, yeah, you were there, second place with 1,063. Still, though, I mean, come on, jeez. That's
It's a lot of
impressive.
basketball.
Oh yeah. Um, oh yes, and then I wanted to ask: I know that despite the tournament being back home, was having your father's cooking, was that something that was a little bit comforting there, just to kind of know that, hey, I know I'm still not able to see him technically, but
Mhm.
I'm here, and this is kind of something that brings a little comfort to you, I guess.
Absolutely, 100%. When he said he was gonna cook for the team, I got so happy. I was like, it sucks that my team can't come over to the house and be around my family, but you know they could have a taste of San Antonio through my dad's cooking. So that was a great feeling, and just seeing everybody's reaction when they were tasting the food. I'm like, Yeah, I know my dad's like that. So yeah, it was nice, that he got to cook for the team and that they enjoyed it. And there's just that southern hospitality that I was trying to show to my teammates and the coaches.
That was definitely some, it's been really cool to, just researching it, seeing, your journey here. And it's always really cool to add more incredible people to this storm team. It just, I don't know. I get prideful thinking about how the great people we've got on the organization, you know. So I want to take one more stop here along the road at Stanford. What sort of things, whether it's lessons or just words of encouragement, things that you'll keep from Coach VanDerveer, and what sort of influence did she have on you as a person, not just maybe as a player on the court?
Hmm. Yeah, I'm just so thankful to have Tara VanDerveer in my life. She's one of she is, in my opinion, she's the greatest coach to ever coach the game. And she's an even better person. She loves what you can do on the basketball court, but she loves you as a person also. So that, being a player for a coach that you know that they love you as a person. I was willing to do anything. I told her I'd run through a wall for you, Tara. So extremely thankful for our relationship. And all throughout training camp, she was texting me and calling me and seeing how things were going. So though I'm not at Stanford anymore, she's still checking in on me, seeing how I'm doing. So I'm just so thankful for our relationship. um I guess the biggest there's so many things that I've learned from her over those 4 years, but I guess one thing that just sticks out is she just always compliment me on staying level-headed. um like early on in my Stanford career, I would like show my emotions on my face when things weren't going my way. But toward the end of my Stanford career, I did a great job of like when I wasn't playing well, not letting that affect me, which ultimately affects the team. Obviously, the final four, the two games I struggled from the field, but my teammates picked up the scoring slack, and I was still out there being a leader and encouraging everyone. As you said, that's why I still played the entire game, both games. But yeah, just my ability to stay level headed and not give in to frustration or you know it's hard when things aren't going your way to like cheer and clap for others. But I think I learned that during my 4 years. And um that's what I'm doing right now. Obviously, I'm not playing, but I'm still encouraging and clapping for my teammates, because I know when my number's called I need to be ready. So um you know showing frustration and I guess pouting, that's not gonna serve anybody.
No, and that's something I'm sure that you learned as you became a captain, and somebody that was a senior leader, as you mentioned.
Mhm.
Um, so with those things, being mentioned, what was your demeanor as you saw the first round of the draft going along? What sort of things were you thinking about, or were you kind of, like you said, being level-headed about? You're like, you know what, this, I'm just gonna let it sort itself out.
Um, there was a lot of anxiety going on, just internally. Obviously, you're just waiting to hear your name called, and when the first round, slipped by, I was like, okay, it is what it is. But there was there was never a moment where I didn't think my name would be called. It's just I wanted to get drafted into the right situation. And there are a few teams that I thought were great situations for me, but I just knew that Seattle was the best situation for me. And um, delayed but not denied. That's what I told myself. And that's really just been my motto since I've been here: delayed but not denied. Just waiting my turn, staying ready, staying patient. It's for sure an adjustment, as you said, going from playing 40 minutes to not playing at all. There's a huge swing there, but I'm just thankful to be here, thankful to be learning from the goats. And I just know when my name is called, to perform, I know I'm going to perform. But yeah, there's for sure anxiety going on in the draft, but just the fact that I was at home with family, I knew things would work out, and they did just that.
Are you able to share who from the team first got in contact with you after you found out that you were going to be with Seattle? Was there anybody that just kind of reached out to you first from the team?
Sue Bird actually mentioned me on her Instagram story. I think she mentioned everyone that got drafted. I'm trying to think. I think I text Jordan because we have like friends. We have similar friends, so I got her number from a friend and then text her. But I think Sue Bird was the first to congratulate not only me but the other 3 draftees. So that was a really good feeling. Knowing that a veteran was reaching out.
Kind of like you were mentioning with the differences of, like you said, playing the full games to, you know, not playing. How different has it been for you to, like you said, being a senior leader to now you're on a team with, someone like Sue Bird, with players like Breanna Stewart, people who have championship pedigree, people like Candace Dupree, who's been around this league. How different has that been, I guess, to, from being somebody who's been around that Stanford program and has been there for those 4 years and is a leader in that program. And then you go to the WNBA now and it's like, you're not necessarily somebody who's, I guess, like an outright leader, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's different for sure, to say the least. It's a for sure new role, but I know my time will come. It's just, my path is going to be a lot different. And that's what I tell young people all the time, to run your own race and not compare your journey to others. But yeah, it's for sure an adjustment, from being quote unquote the top dog to, starting over and trying to, build up your rep. But there's no other place I'd rather be. Extremely thankful to be in Seattle, to play for Seattle and play alongside and practice alongside some of the greatest basketball players to ever play the game.
We've been talking about the team itself, but what has been up here in Seattle as location wise been like for you? Because obviously coming from Texas, I'm sure it's a whole different thing. Or did you sort of get an idea about it since you've played in the Pac-12 and Washington is a stop that is made at some UW is a stop that's made. How have you felt about the weather around here, just the area itself?
Oh, I love it out here. It's not as hot as it is in Texas. Just coming off the Dallas road trip, I was like, we were walking to the bus, I'm like, yeah, we're in Texas, it's heat. But no, I love Seattle. The Pacific Northwest it's beautiful out here. There's water. I'm trying to, get on the lake. Joel actually told me she's going to teach me how to swim because I don't know how to swim. So, hopefully, we can get the team together and go to the lake or whatnot. But no, I love it out here. The weather, sometimes it rains, but I've been hearing that the summertime is the best time to be here. So, and that's exactly what I'll be here throughout the summer.
I try to tell people summer here is pretty hard to beat because, like you said, it's not too hot. It's real nice. I think you're gonna like it. And you already kind of get a taste of it because we've had some nice May days.
Mm-hmm.
You spoke a little bit about training camp in the beginning. How competitive was that preseason training camp time for you? As we've seen throughout the WNBA, that a lot of talented players don't necessarily make the rosters, and it's something that I know that I believe the commissioner talked about expansion, and that would help. But how just to get back to the main point, how competitive was that time period for you, working to make the roster?
I think making this roster was the hardest thing I've ever done. 1000%. Just the people that they had come in for training camp, and then also the returners. It was a great training camp. It was extremely competitive. But I had my brother would always text me every morning, make today your best day. So every day I tried to be better than I was yesterday. But yeah, it was extremely competitive, and that's how the league is. It's competitive. It wasn't easy at all. It wasn't handed to me. So, and I wouldn't want it any other way. Um, yeah, but I for sure, I knew Seattle was a great situation for me, but I also knew that it wasn't going to be easy making this roster at all, and it wasn't. But yeah, I just tried to improve every single day. And I think, the coach, ultimately the coaches saw me improving every day. My first 3 days, I had that rookie phase. I was like, what is going on? My head was spinning. We're learning like 10 to 12 different plays every day. But as training camp went on and as we started playing more, I started getting more comfortable, and now, now we're here.
Yeah, that was some the training camp was obviously it's something to watch just because of the full roster, but just considering how many new pieces there were from the trades that were made with this team with Katie Lou Samuelson and acquiring Stephanie Talbot and signing Ty Young, and bringing, like you said, other training camp invitees. It was something that I was interested to see just because you lose someone like Alicia Clark and Natasha Howard. People are going to be interested to see how that changes. But yeah, I do hope that we see. I don't think it's something about hope. I think it's just a matter of when we see some expansion teams. Because I think it's there's nothing wrong. I think that'll only be good for the league is what I'm trying to say. Stripped over my words there.
Absolutely. I think expansion is needed, as soon as possible. There's a lot of, great players that have been cut. But it's just unfortunate there's only 12. Some teams only carrying 11. There's very few spots, and it's just the hardest professional league, hardest professional league to make, team wise.
Do you have any thoughts on potential spots that would get like as potential cities that would get an expansion spot? Because that's something I've been thinking about, and
Yeah. There's some cities. I guess 5 that I have in mind, or I think the Bay Area could use one. Another one in California. I feel like they need to bring the Houston Comets back. Just how they started off the league and won those 3 back to back like that. I feel like Florida for sure needs one. I don't know, Miami, Orlando, one of those spots, but I feel like Florida for sure needs a women's basketball league team. 2 more cities. Let's go Philadelphia. I don't know why, but they have the 76ers and then they have the Eagles. So why not throw in a women's professional basketball team there? And then I've been hearing stuff about Canada. So why not Canada, So those 5 come to mind, but I know there's a lot that goes into it. It's not something that happens overnight.
Yep.
But I think those 5 cities, and obviously there are other places that would probably really, come out and support women's basketball. But those 5 stick out to me.
No, yeah, that makes sense. And like you said, it's something that's going to take time. And
Mm-hmm.
but it was really something that intrigued me when I heard that from Commissioner Engelbert. Just, oh yeah, if this season, goes well, I don't know how they measure that. Then they're looking at expansion. But like you said, that's something that doesn't happen overnight. Just like with the NBA and potentially getting our Sonics back, it's something that is going to take a few years. Because I know the NBA's talked about expanding due to pandemic losses or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's exciting. I'd say it's exciting to think about when that comes. Just wish it might have been sooner, but like you said, take some time. Speaking of newer things, I know that these are the only Storm jerseys you've played in, obviously. But what are your thoughts on these Storm jerseys, as well as just the whole kind of the line of the Nike jerseys?
They're fire. They're fire. I don't know which one's my favorite. We wore the white ones for the first time on a road trip. Those were tough. Black is obviously, I'm wearing a black hoodie jacket. Black's one of my favorite colors. But then the green, you can't go wrong with the green. So all 3 of them, they're 1A, 1B, and 1C. I can't really, I don't have a preference, but no, I love it. And not just our jerseys, just across the league, it's a really brilliant marketing strategy for sure.
That was cool to see. And I know one of the questions we had on the weekly show was, how do we feel about the logo? I personally like the logo. I've got this one, but I still wanted to get the Rebel hoodie. And I got to get an updated hat too, because this has got the old logo on it. So, but it's interesting to see, obviously from the player standpoint, you're the one who's putting the jersey on. So it's interesting to hear your perspective about it. And then do you have any goals that you'd like to share that you'd have for this season? Or is it mainly just you want to sit here and kind of be like a sponge and soak up the information that you can and just learn from, the players that are on this team?
I mean, we don't really talk about it. It's just, it's just the culture is winning a championship. Like that's the number one priority. Um, why not go back to back? Um, but we don't talk about it. But it's just, it's expected, so you don't really need to talk about it. But for me, just staying ready, and when my number's called, going out there doing what I do best. Running the team and making sure the right people are in the right spots and making sure I'm being aggressive also, both ends of the ball. But yeah, I just want to have fun. Um, Coach said that today, just to have fun. Obviously, Connecticut is coming in hot, and they're playing really well together. But yeah, I don't really necessarily have any like personal goals. I just want to improve every single day and just stay ready.
Yeah, like you said, that game they're coming in 5-0, I believe, is their record right now, and uh, that'll be something to watch. And
Um,
like you said, like you've touched on several times, you came into a great opportunity and a great situation, and it's going to be something exciting to watch. But the last thing I sort of want to leave you with is, what are your thoughts on the way that we've seen, I guess, more media, more coverage of the league this year? I know that I remember you mentioned Canada for a WNBA spot. I believe that ratings in Canada for opening weekend were up like 300%. I know that ratings were up 25% for opening weekend. I know that the league signed a deal to cover games with Google, because that's been an issue in the past. Even some of the games this year, I know that when I see Twitter videos of like the games, that they're such low quality. It's like, why can't you give these women, the proper equipment to broadcast these games?
mhm.
So at least, as a player perspective, as somebody who played in the national title game, getting that media attention,
Mhm.
um, what are you seeing, from a player standpoint on how the media is doing on covering the league so far this year?
I mean, I think obviously there's always, room for improvement, but I just feel like, compared to the last few seasons, this is the most, um, viewership or whatever. I don't know the right wording, but
I think that's right.
yeah, I feel like, games are being broadcasted, and then obviously you have the league pass. And it's less than $20 and you literally get to watch every single game. But obviously there's always room for improvement. But just to know that there are, strides being made, and every single year, things are getting better and better. And ultimately, that's what you want. You don't want to, take those steps back. You want to keep moving forward and improving, for the younger generation. So, um,
No, yeah, I think you hit it right. And I saw that. I saw the league pass was as low as it was. I was like, compared to other league passes where they want me to pay like $100, I'm like, no,
yeah,
I can do the $17. And that's been cool to, like you
absolutely.
said, just be able to hit the app and be able to watch games like that. So,
Mhm.
with that being said, is there anything that you want to leave with, or anything that you want to sort of touch on uh, in closing?
If you don't have League Pass, go get League Pass. But no, just thank you for having me. It was nice being interviewed,
Can't
and
see it because the glare, but yeah, it's like she said, it's I mean, you can't get much better than that in terms of our league passes. I know they charge what, 60 plus for a league pass, and that's a good bargain. I'm sorry to cut you off.
no, you're fine. No, I was gonna say, yeah, get League Pass if you don't have League Pass, and watch as many games as possible. And there's so many talented women in the league, and I just know that you won't be disappointed. Whatever game you watch, there's one player that you're gonna, oh wow, she's really good. I want to follow her. So um yeah, that's all I have. Just thank you for interviewing me. It was nice, talking and reflecting on my Stanford journey, and how I got to where I am today. So appreciate it.
Well, I hope that at some point you're able to really sort of take in, that championship victory, as well as just, making it to the league, as well as being with this organization, because, you know, you've obviously put the work in. And like I said earlier, it's great to see such great people with this organization. From obviously you and Sue Birds meant so much to the city of Seattle as a whole.
Mhm.
Um, and just, women like you guys are, I know, obviously I wasn't in that position. But for the little girls watching, or the, any woman who's watching, just being able to, like you said, with League Pass, go get League Pass, just being able to watch and look up to you guys, that's part of the reason I like doing these interviews as a whole, is to tell the story of the athlete, and so people can know more about their favorite athlete. Somebody might feel like, I want to learn more about Kiana Williams. Boom, I
Mhm.
got an interview for you. But I appreciate you taking out of your time, and excited to see tomorrow's game against Connecticut in person. And excited to, as we sort of move towards bringing more people back in the stands. So hopefully you can see the Storm fans in more of an accurate capacity, because I know it's a lot less than it normally would be. So I want to thank Kiana Williams for coming on, and excited to see the rest of the season. It should be a fun season, and I know it's early, but man, that Dallas game had me so nervous. God, but thank you.
No problem. No problem. Thanks for having me.